Hello, and welcome to Lesson 7-10, Justifying Fraction Comparisons. Our goal today is to be able to make and justify fraction comparisons and develop understanding of fractions as numbers. Today you will need Math Journal page 243 and page 244. You will also need your fraction bar pieces, the fraction circle pieces you can access on ConnectEd, and the fraction number line poster. You should already have some of these printed from last week, and you can use those or print a new one. Is the shaded part greater than or less than 1/2? Remember, you're looking at the gray part. That's right. Only one out of the 4 pieces are shaded in. This gray piece is less than 1/2. Let's try another. Ready? Remember to look at the gray shaded part. This time, was it greater than or less than 1/2? Right, this has 3/4 shaded in, and we can see that's more than half. Last one, is the shaded part greater than or less than 1/2? Ready? This one might have been a little trickier for you, but what do you think? If you need to, you might need to imagine a line halfway between. If you do that, you can tell that the shaded part is greater than 1/2. Here's today's math message. Use your fraction circles to solve the problem. Again, these fraction circle pieces can be found on ConnectEd's e-toolkit. Lucas eats 5/6 of a round quesadilla. Mara eats 7/8 of a round quesadilla. That is the same size. Who has the larger leftover piece of quesadilla? Before you begin, let's think about the whole. What is the whole that Mara and Lucas are eating? Right. The whole in this problem is the quesadilla. Why is it important for us to know what the whole is? It actually gives you a hint right in the math message. In order to compare fractions, the whole must be the same size. Pause this video to solve the math message. You might choose to solve the math message on ConnectEd or on the back of one of your math journal pages you have printed for today. Here is what your model should look like with the fraction circles. Luca uses the light blue fraction circle pieces that each represent 6, giving him 5/6, and Mara uses the dark blue fraction circle pieces to show 7/8. You might look at this and notice that the light blue fraction circle pieces are larger than the size of the dark blue fraction circle pieces. When I show 5 light blue pieces and 7 dark blue pieces, the empty space for the light blue pieces for Lucas is larger than the missing piece in the dark blue fraction circle pieces. 7 dark blue pieces cover more of the whole red piece, so Mara ate more than Lucas. Therefore, Lucas has more left over. Did you get it correct that Lucas has the larger leftover piece of quesadilla? Pat yourself on the back if you did. Let's practice some fraction comparisons from the math message. Again, you can jot your answers on the back of one of your journal pages. What fractions are we comparing when looking at the parts of the quesadilla that Lucas and Mara ate? If we go back, Luca had 5/6 and Mara had 7/8. So the fractions we are comparing are 5/6 and 7/8. What number sentence describes this comparison? Well, we know that Mara ate more and Mara ate 7/8. So 5/6 is less than 7/8, or 7/8 is larger than 5/6. What fractions are we comparing when we look at Lucas's and Mara's leftover pieces of quesadilla? Again, if we go back, we're just looking at the missing part that isn't covered yet. That's 1/6 for Lucas and 1/8 for Mara. So the fractions we are comparing are 1/6 and 1/8. What number sentence describes this comparison? Remember, Lucas had the most left over, so 1/6 is greater than 1/8. Which number sentence shows the answer to the math message? Are we trying to compare the 1/6 and 1/8 or 5/6 and 7/8? Remember, the question was, who had the larger leftover piece? You should be thinking 1/6 is greater than 1/8 would show the correct answer to the math message. Just to review, here are comparison symbols. We have our greater than and less than symbol. Remember, try to think of it like an alligator who's trying to eat the bigger number. It points to the small number and eats the larger number. Use fraction rods or number lines to compare 1/6 and 1/8. Here are my fraction bars. I'm going to use my highlighter tool because I'm on the screen. And I'm going to shade in 1/6 and 1/8. If you're looking at this, you can tell which one is greater. 1/6 is shaded a little bit more than 1/8. So 1/8 is greater, 1/6 is greater than 1/8. Let's review equivalent to or equal to. This is when we use our equal sign to show fractions that represent the same number. The example they're giving us is 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Here's 1/2. Here's 2/4. You can tell that they both cover the same part of the whole. Let's practice. Here are fraction bars for fourths and eighths. If I'm trying to find an equivalent fraction for 1/4, how many eighths are equal to 1/4? That's right. 2/8 are equivalent to 1/4. They cover the same part of the whole. Try to use math language to justify your thinking. Again, on the back of a math journal page, try it. Pick a sentence starter to write about 1/4 and 2/8. Pause this video to write your sentence. Now let's practice justifying our fraction comparisons together. I would like you to try to prove that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. Go ahead and write that on your line now. Next, we want to justify our answer by explaining how each tool, number lines, fraction strips or fraction bars, and fraction circle pieces show equivalence. I can justify that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6 by partitioning and plotting them on these number lines. Go ahead and try to partition this number line for 2/3 and the second number line for 4/6. Your partitioning should look something like this. The first number line is broken into 3 equal pieces, and the second number line is broken into 6 equal pieces. 2/3 would be here. 4/6 would be here. You can also use your fraction poster to prove this even further. As you can see, the stars line up with one another, meaning they're both the same distance from 0. Now let's try our fraction strips. My justification for saying that 2/3 and 4/6 are equivalent fractions is they cover the same amount of the whole on fraction bars. Partition your fraction strips into unit fractions, similar to how you did the number line. Done, it may look something like this. Again, each piece on the fraction strips, or each of your fraction bar pieces, represents one of those fractions, or the unit fractions. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 makes 3/3, or the whole. In our case, we are again trying to compare 2/3 to 4/6. So I'm shading in, or if you're using your fraction bars, cover the whole with 4/6. Again, you can see that they line up with one another and they both cover the same amount of the whole. You try to do the fraction circle pieces and finish the page. When you're done, it may look something like this. The first circle broken into thirds with 2/3 shaded, the second fraction circle broken into sixths with 4/6 shaded. Notice how I shaded the same way so I can show the equivalent piece that's still not there? Now it's your turn. See if you can use your tools to find an equivalent fraction for 3/4. You're going to use your tools to prove the equivalent fraction you pick 3 different ways, using your number lines, your fraction bars, and your fraction circle pieces. You can even challenge yourself to write a sentence. This will strengthen your explanations. For number 2, you can create your own fractions to find a fraction that is greater than another. Good luck, and don't forget to do the exit slip when you're done.